What happened is that at about 1 o'clock Sunday morning, we discovered that some people have gone into our underground tunnels. Now, in the underground tunnels, you find a lot of electrical cables. Now, what happened is that these guys burned the cables. We suspect that the idea of burning the cables was to try to make sure that after burning the cables, the power will trip. And after the power is tripped, the idea was that then they were going to now steal, cut the cables and steal them. Basically, the logic, what these guys are trying to do is they go into the underground tunnels, okay? When they get into the underground tunnels, they find the cables like this underground, although they are a lot bigger. What they do is that they make a fire under the cables. Once they make the fire under the cables, the idea is that this fire will then cause the power, the electricity to trip. And once the electricity has tripped, what these guys do now, they then realize that the cables are a lot safer for them to cut them and to steal the cables. They steal the cables, basically the idea is to steal the copper in the cables with the idea of selling to the scrap yard. This is not the only kind of crime that happens that affect the cables. There's also the issues of illegal connections where some customers cut into the network to connect them. There's also areas where people do not go under tunnels, but they cut cables, especially the overhead lines. They cut them and they also sell them. So it goes into over 100 million just replacing stolen cables, both in terms of labor and in terms of material costs. Well, according to the information that we get, particularly from the intelligence and our security side, it looks like there are well-organized syndicates in certain areas. And we have been able to arrest some of them, where we found that syndicates, that organized crimes, and there are people who do this, and they have a market within the scrap yard communities where they sell these things.